As the world adjusts to the results of the US election, international leaders are signalling their expectations for future cooperation with President-elect Donald Trump. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has expressed confidence that the EU will continue to work closely with President Trump. He highlighted the importance of maintaining a strong alliance in the face of ongoing security challenges in Europe and the Middle East.
We will continue to work well with the future American president, and the question of how this can be achieved has been the subject of our discussions. One aspect is quite clear. We must do what is necessary for our security together as the European Union, as Europeans.
President of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, extended an invitation to Trump to visit, aiming to strengthen ties after years of tension. He expressed hope for a different approach to Trump's previous term. Erdogan's comments come as markets in Turkey rallied following Trump's re-election, with hopes for reduced tariffs on Turkish exports to the US. Meanwhile, the Kremlin has signaled that President Vladimir Putin is open to talks with President-elect Trump about Ukraine, but emphasized that Russia's objectives remain unchanged. The Kremlin insists that whilst the door to diplomacy is open, there have been no concrete requests for discussions from the US side.
European leaders gathered in Budapest in the wake of Donald Trump's recent victory. The main goal is for EU countries to take more responsibility for their own security and reduce their dependence on the United States. A key issue facing the EU following Trump's win is the future of aid to Ukraine, with Europe struggling to present a unified stance. The EU's two largest powers, Germany, whose government recently collapsed, and France, which is also politically weakened, are at the center of this challenge. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, a close ally of Trump, commented on state radio before the informal EU summit. He mentioned that the Americans will withdraw from this war. Throughout President Trump's first term, his relationship with many European leaders was strained. Since then, he has signaled that he would not defend European allies unless they met NATO defense spending targets. The president-elect has cast doubt about the extent of U.S. support for Ukraine and proposed protectionist tariffs that would impact European manufacturers.
Following violent clashes in Amsterdam in which Israeli citizens were targeted, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sent 2 rescue planes to the Netherlands to bring back affected individuals. The incident reportedly involved confrontations between Israelis and pro-Palestinian protesters. Benjamin Netanyahu held an emergency briefing with military and foreign affairs officials. He called on Dutch authorities to ensure Israeli citizens' safety and to pursue accountability for the attackers. Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof has condemned the anti-Semitic violence and says the perpetrators will be prosecuted. Fans of the Tel Aviv Maccabi Football Club had lit flares and chanted nationalist slogans as they headed to a match against Ajax Amsterdam on Thursday. The violence erupted after the football match involving the 2 clubs. Dutch police detained 62 suspects after the confrontations.
Rescuers urgently work to evacuate residents living near Indonesia's Mount Lawatobi Laki-Laki after the volcano erupted 8 times on Thursday, sending ash plumes as high as 8,000 meters.
It was about 12 o'clock, so we were shocked. We woke up and ran out of the house. I left the house wearing only a t-shirt and pants like this, not wearing sandals or even a cloth. I asked my grandchildren to take my torch, but my grandchildren said no and asked me to run for my life.
Approximately 6,000 out of the 16,000 residents in nearby areas were moved to safer villages, according to the Flores regional authorities.
We have evacuated more than 100 people in Nawakute village, and we have evacuated them in 2 trucks to this shelter.
A state of emergency has been declared, allowing the central government to provide aid. 4 small airports on Flores Island were shut down due to the eruption. Indonesia lies on the Pacific Ring of Fire, a zone of intense seismic activity.
Typhoon Yingxing has slammed into the northern Philippines, bringing heavy rains and strong winds. The storm made landfall Thursday and has wreaked havoc across several provinces. It leaves communities struggling to cope with the damage, including airport closures. Winds of up to 175 kilometres have brought down power lines, uprooted trees and caused damage to buildings, according to local officials. More than 40,000 people have been relocated to safer areas in the province. Schools have been closed in several northern regions. Authorities are seeking immediate assistance from the National Disaster Council. The Philippines faces an average of 20 storms each year. Yingxing is the third storm to strike in less than a month. This follows Trami and Yongray. At least 151 people were killed and nearly 9 million were affected then, mostly in the north and central provinces.
One final walkthrough of the team who have been in charge of the venue for the COP29 climate conference. It's been months of intense preparations here in Baku.
So basically COP consists of 112 square meters of temporary structure. So answering your second question, I believe, about what's the difference in between the other COPs is there was never such a venue built within a short period of time, starting from July, beginning of July, ending by the actual structural part of it, finishing by end of August. So within 2 months, we did the impossible possible.
Some of the first attendees arrive ahead of the official start of the conference. A total of 60,000 participants have registered to come to the event. Altogether, over 50,000 of them will be from overseas. The clock is ticking. The scheduled presentation will be held within COP29 is ready. The work in many areas has been done 100%. The event will be supported by 2 state-of-the-art data centers, serving as the backbone of the venue. A heavy specialized security team is in place with the attendees coming from all over the world. The venue is split into 2 zones, blue and green.
A green zone going to be populated with 56 pavilions, 4 conference rooms and 18 B2B rooms, food court and extreme hangout area. In addition, we have here main operations center, which is called the MOC, where employees of COP29 operation company are overseeing entire operations of the COP29. You are either a partner or the exhibitor. If you have a blue zone badge, you can enter here without any additional accreditation. But if you are neither an exhibitor or a partner or the blue zone resident, you can go to the iTicket platform and get your ticket free of charge there.
One of the priorities for the venue team has been making sure that the COP29 is able to welcome everyone.
People of determination, people with accessibilities. The venue is 100% accessible for all the people who are using the wheelchairs or any other people of determination. So it's fully accessible. We have all the ramps as per the international standards, all the toilets for PODs and so on. The people will not feel the difference in between.
Officials in Baku say the city's infrastructure is now fully ready to host the climate conference. The eyes of the world turn towards the capital of Azerbaijan for the start of the COP29 from Monday.
The European Union's Copernicus Climate Change Service announced that 2024 is virtually certain to surpass 2023 as the hottest year on record. With global temperatures remaining unusually high from January to October, scientists say that only an extreme temperature drop in the remaining months of the year could prevent 2024 from setting this grim record. This year will mark the first time that global temperatures have exceeded 1.5 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial average set between 1850 and 1900. This threshold was set by the 2015 Paris Agreement to prevent the worst impacts of climate change. Whilst the world has not yet permanently surpassed the 1.5 degrees Celsius limit, the Copernicus Climate Change Service now projects that temperatures will likely exceed this target by around 2030.
Climate is warming generally. It's warming in all continents, in all ocean basins. So we are bound to see those records being broken. So in that sense, the fundamental underpinning cause of this year record is climate change, is the anthropogenic warming of the climate system.
The warning comes just days before COP29 in Azerbaijan, where negotiators will discuss increasing financial support to combat climate change. The 12th World Urban Forum officially concluded today in Cairo with a ceremonial handover to Anar Guliev, chairman of Azerbaijan's State Committee on Urban Planning and Architecture. He will oversee the next forum in Baku, Azerbaijan in 2026. The event attracted over 37,000 participants from 182 countries. During the closing ceremony, Anar Guliev reiterated Azerbaijan's commitment to the UN New Urban Agenda and Sustainable Development Goals. He highlighted the importance of the multi-sectoral actions pathway to Resilient and Healthy Cities initiative, which will be presented at COP29 in Baku. In addition, Guliev emphasized the role of the Baku Coalition for Sustainable Development, which aims to create synergy between COP and World Urban Forum. Next week, Azerbaijan will host COP29 in its capital, Baku. The city of Shusha in Azerbaijan has been undergoing extensive restoration since its liberation on November 8, 2020.
Today is an important day for Azerbaijan. Country celebrates the Victory Day, remembering liberation of Shusha.
Subsequently, the Azerbaijani government has been rebuilding homes, schools, mosques, cultural landmarks, and constructing a modern city that will be suitable for a returning population. According to the special representative for the President of Azerbaijan in Shusha, Aydan Karimov, the progress made in restoration and rebuilding is significant.
As you know, the government has adopted a Great Return Phase 1 program for return of its former residents to their home cities, and under this program there are many agencies and organizations who are performing reconstruction and rehabilitation works here in Shusha. One of the main tasks was to deliver the first residential complex, which we achieved this year in May, and already more than 200 families have moved and living there. By the end of this year will be almost 400 families, 370 families will be finally living in their homes. From the first day of liberation, the big attention was paid for rehabilitation and restoration of our historical monuments, which were mostly destroyed and vandalized during the occupation. So we are currently have restored 20 monuments among almost 200. So some of them are fully restored, some of them will be going special conservation projects. And here we have big assistance from Heydar Aliyev Foundation, Karabakh Tirchalish Fondi, and other agencies are helping to do that.
Today's Shusha embodies a renewed commitment to preserving its rich heritage, whilst also evolving into a modern, eco-friendly and carbon-neutral hub where returning families can thrive.
All Karabakh has been declared as a green energy territory, and many projects here are undertaking under the principles of green energy. Coming for construction projects, okay, of course, Shusha is situated on a high mountainous plateau and giving some certain climatic conditions, we are securing that the old buildings are built are energy efficient. So all the new buildings that are being constructed, they will be classified as the energy efficient buildings to the certain class level, which it means they are built by with the use of the special construction materials, insulation materials, which helps to save the energy. We have now launched our public transport system in the city. Shusha was the first city in Azerbaijan. We are proud to say that. We have launched the fully electric bus public transport. So we have 4 electrical buses, public buses. They are already circulating in the city, and they provide public transportation for city residents and its visitors.
The eco-conscious development in Shusha aligns with Azerbaijan's broader environmental goals, especially in the light of the forthcoming COP29 summit in Baku.